Hey everyone, it's Aaron with Weekend Motorcycle Guys. Today's video, we're going to go over the KC HiLiTES Flex Era 1 auxiliary pods. These two little guys right here. They offer them in two different versions, one just being a single light, or two being the full kit, which is going to be two lights, wiring harness, relay, and a switch. I bought the kit, obviously, because I needed to have two lights. Sorry that I'm bouncing around here a little bit. I'm not a professional photographer or a videographer, really, but ultimately, these lights do come with three different lenses depending on what you need to use them for. So they do come installed with a spread beam pattern, which you see here. They come with a spot beam and a flood beam. What I'm doing tonight here is parking this bike here about center of the road, aiming it down right in the middle here. That corner, there's going to be a little green sign that you won't really be able to see, but you'll be able to see the reflection. That's about 200 yards away. And what I'll end up doing is going ahead and, that's a horrible view. I'll end up going through all three lenses. So that way you all can kind of see what those look like, given kind of like the woodsy conditions here, for illumination off to the side and everything like that, and distance, etc. I'll do my best here to kind of walk through it where it's basically three options. One's going to be just a low beam from the stock headlight unit, then the high beam so you can see what those differences are. I'll go back to the low beam, and then I'll turn on the KC HiLiTES with the low beam so you can see what it looks like. And then I'll flip the high beam on as well so you can kind of see all that. Hopefully that'll help you out to understand those differences. You know, some of this is going to come down to how I also have this positioned. Still kind of working out how I want the lights oriented. You know, if I want them a little bit spread out more to like the left and the right here, or where it really would be left and right, up and down and stuff like that, you know, but that just takes some time for me to figure out. But yeah, hopefully you all enjoy that, and we'll see what comes out of it. Stay tuned. Each lens will be shown as the low beam first, then the high beam. I'll turn off the low beam again, and then put on the KC lights. So once again, these are the Flex Era. So low beam for the diffused from the stock headlight right now. High beam. I'm gonna go back to a low beam, and then we're gonna turn on the KC lights with the diffused beam pattern. That's still the low beam applied. Now we'll do the high beam. So we get a little bit more distance just out of the high beam, but that is what you see. So low beam off now. And now we'll turn off the KC lights. All right, video break, and we'll pick back up with the spotlights. Okay, now we're on to the spotlights. Once again, we're starting off with low beams, high beams, back down to low beams, and now we will put on the spots. That's spots with the low beam and then the high beam applied. High beam off. Now it's the low beams. Okay, we're on to the third set of lenses. Once again, starting off with a low beam from just the stock headlight unit. We're going to go ahead and put the high beam on now for a comparison. Go back down to low beam. Okay, that's still with the low beam on. High beam on from the headlight. Back down to low beam, and then off. Okay, we're gonna put this bike away because the mosquitoes are absolutely horrible. All right, everyone. Probably losing my face here a little bit in the shadow. I got a pretty dark lens on the camera just because I'm facing the sun. But you're getting a little sunset here over Lake Huron with Mackinac Bridge, about 20 miles that way, 25 miles somewhere in there. But any rate, I hope this video was able to help you all out, especially showing that difference between the 3 lens options and just what that output from these lights are. I think that they're a great option for our bikes. They're a very small footprint. They're not huge. They don't really disturb the visuals of the bike, which I really like. One thing I didn't talk about at the beginning of the video is that the wiring for this for the switch essentially has 2 different on positions, you know, an on, off, on, I'll say. If you wire it up with that capability, one way will do an amber illumination, which I find to be really good for being in towns and things like that, so you're not blinding everybody. And then you can flip it to the other on position, which will then turn off the ambers and you'll be with the bright LED lights. It's just kind of a neat feature to have, I think. So you can kind of just, depending on where you're riding at, you can just add a little bit more visibility without blinding everybody. But then when you're out in the country riding, you need that extra illumination so you can see all the fun-filled furry creatures that like to dart out in front of us. You'll have a better chance of seeing them. So with that, if this video helped you all out, right, please like and subscribe to our channel. Travis and I would really appreciate that. Follow us on Instagram as well. That'd be great. Hopefully we can keep providing some content to you all. If there's something you'd like to see talked about or added, drop it in the comments and we'll do our best to facilitate that. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. You know, and as we like to say, get out and explore 1 week at a time. Take care.